Welcome back to the Quiet Mountain Radio program. Derek, let me ask you something quick.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Did the guide tell us to go to that spooky dark room?
So we're gonna break the illusion here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We're looking for an item
An item. All right.
in that room.
Earlier in the previous episode, I was trying really hard to just press A or X while in this room to see if there's anything worth picking up. But I think there's something with this game where you have to be like right on the object to pick it up.
Is that it right there? That white thing?
I can't even
get
get over to it.
Oh, okay.
That's all those
That's a shame.
invisible walls. Can we...
You don't have a flashlight, I assume.
I don't have a flashlight. What I'm trying to find out is...
There's nothing twinkling in here?
There isn't. I was actually hoping to find like an option screen and see if I could turn the brightness up.
No, definitely not. Could maybe do that within the program, but
this is just
I'm not going to mess with it while we're recording.
Yeah, no. There's just... Brown is looking at something here.
Yeah, can he... Give him like hit square or whatever by him. Does he just find anything if
you have to have something like equipped to find.
Okay.
He doesn't really find random objects, at least as far. Maybe I can I like do find on Martha's hat?
Use find on Martha's hat.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it
seems like maybe best practice would be to just use find on every item.
When in doubt, brown it out.
Right. Exactly. Like
there we
do
go.
Do a find on that.
Yes. Okay.
If you can.
Cutscene. In the dark room, the unknown occupant spoke in a shrill voice.
There's blood on your knife.
I was a mighty witch, yet now I am but a powerless wretch, rubbish and dust. My precious, precious key, I hid it secretly. I hid it in a pure and dirty place. I hid it secretly.
The toilets?
Your eyes cannot find it. You are truly a poor, unlucky girl. I might go check the men's bathroom again just to see if there's something I can find in there. I mean, a pure and, yeah. I mean,
I don't know why that
out.
would necessarily be poor and innocent. Or
pure and yeah. Oh, that scared the crap out of me. Okay. We want to go this way. I'm gonna go see if I can find the men's bathroom again. That whole area is kind of tricky, but I just want to just satiate my curiosity. I just want to try that quick.
So we talked an awful lot about animation in the last one,
yeah.
didn't we?
We did.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I
love knowing how the sausage is made, and especially with stuff like this. So all of your little insights and projects and know-how is just, it's so intriguing to me, because when you play as many video games as you and I do, you can't help but wonder, and peel back that curtain and say, like, how do they do this? Because it all just sort of it all just ends up happening.
Oh, hello.
Like, yeah, there's a little boy. He's still peeing. Okay.
Wow.
It feels like magic at times. When there's like a crazy bombastic boss fight. Like, how did they just get all this to work for millions or thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people? Every single time. It just, you plug it in and everything happens as is. Now, obviously, there's like bugs here and there that you find, but at the same time, there's still these moments that just, it's all just a computer telling, things within the computer how to happen. It's just kind of a beautiful thing, really.
Well, very similar to magic. If you pull back the curtain on it, it kind of breaks a lot of that sort of mystique about things.
Yep.
Once you understand sort of fundamentally how the things work, it really, I guess, it takes the magic out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like with games, it's hundreds of man hours and
hundreds of man's
probably
hours.
thousands of hours with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
It's an insane amount of work to get, especially nowadays. Like this game, you said earlier, was developed by 25 people, but something like
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2 probably has a couple hundred employees all working round the clock.
Literally.
To get it right, to get it out.
Massive crunch and all that.
Yeah.
All those art assets and voice lines and just scripting. I couldn't even imagine being in scripting in video games in this day and age. Just getting all those things to...
As in programming?
Yeah, that programming to get the scripting done properly. And especially in something like an open world game, where things just have to happen at the right time in the right place and all that. It's just unreal at times to think about.
It is.
But then you get something like Days Gone, which was just released back in April, and I think the Bend Studio, or Studio Bend, it's like 45, 50 employees. But they put out this massive AAA open world game because it's been in development for like 4 years. Whereas something like maybe like an Assassin's Creed game, takes a little over 2 years, and it's this massive, massive team and this massive, massive game. They're able to churn that out. I shouldn't say churn.
Well, churn is a good word for the Assassin's Creed games.
I have a soft spot for them, as you know, and they've done a lot to get out of their stale presentation that a lot of people felt that they had. But then you get something like Days Gone, which is a fairly well received, very well received, in fact, open world game that was made by considerably less people. But it just took so much longer. I think I want to call it Studio Bend, but it's probably Bend Studio, or maybe not even Studio at all. They haven't put out a lot of games. They've been a first party, I think, studio with Sony for a long time, and you don't really hear about the stuff that they've made.
Studio Ben, huh? I haven't played Days Gone.
I haven't either. I really, really want to. They made Siphon Filter. That was like their big thing was Siphon Filter. Then they made, I think the game was called Primal on PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And I don't think they released a game on PlayStation 3, though I could be wrong about that. They may have put out something that I'm gonna look up later and go, oh my gosh, they put out this, but they just don't have like a ton of games to their name. Maybe they worked on some other things here and there, but in like a partnership assistance,
Sure.
like Raven's been working on the Destiny games for who knows how long, though I don't think they will be anymore. But so I'd like that you have a studio like that just really, really takes its time on their games, especially something that's open world, which is that's the rabbit to chase nowadays, right? It's either got to be like that online battle royale, right? Which we're not going down that path today, or it's got to be that hundreds of hours open world game's never gonna end, just monstrosity, this Frankenstein of a game, where it's got crafting, it's got RPG elements, it's got leveling up, it's got an open world, it's got vehicles or whatever. And I remember while we're talking about Assassin's Creed, I remember hearing about people platinuming. No, not platinuming, meaning getting all the trophies on PlayStation or Xbox, but beating the game and putting hundreds of hours into it and having like 25% of the map uncovered.
In which game?
In Assassin's Creed Origins.
Wow.
And I remember hearing that to get the platinum trophy, meaning to get all of the trophies that are available in the game, there's one for exploring all areas of Assassin's Creed Origins, and it takes like tens of hours just to walk through the whole of the map to discover all unique locations.
Wow. And
so people, now granted, Assassin's Creed Origins is this massively, massively successful game. and people that hate how the world is set up because it's too much. You end up just drowning in hundreds of hours of side quests and locations and all that. And I don't know if you noticed in that cutscene, but this girl was holding up a collection, or at least one butterfly.
I did see that.
So,
but to your point, I think there's something to be said that too big of a world can almost take away something.
Yeah, what's the saying? Wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle.
Oh,
is that
right,
what
exactly.
Usually say?
Yeah. The
I won't lose to you.
Shadow of Mordor.
Sure, from the first one from 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That game was open world, but
Yep.
the open world was relatively small.
Yeah.
So you could run between the areas fairly quickly, and then they, have your fast travel and stuff. But it wasn't like a behemoth map.
Not at all. Not at all.
I think too much of that can lose people because it's just.
Weird.
It's just too overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. And there's been a number of open world games that I felt that with, where I enjoy every part of it that's not the exploration part, because exploration doesn't even exist anymore. Now it's just sort of floating by in this. Yeah, it's a pain. It's a chore to have to get to point A to point B because it takes measurable minutes for you to travel between your quests.
I'm gonna go one step further in that and maybe go with an unpopular opinion, but Breath of the Wild lost me for basically
for that reason. Really?
For what I was saying. There's just, I need a little bit of direction.
Gotcha.
More than just, there's the end boss fight.
Gotcha.
Go do whatever.
Sure.
And I understand that was their goal, to give people that complete freedom. It's just a little too much freedom for me, personally.
Interesting. I actually thought when you said this will be unpopular that you would have gone with Witcher 3. I thought that's where you were going to land and say, I just, too much, too open. And so Breath of the Wild, I find that surprising because maybe just the way that I played it, I really didn't do any of the missions. I just found a lot of the gadgets so fun that I would just play the game to do that and then happen upon quests at times.
Sure.
So that's interesting because I
don't think
get
it's bad.
that.
I don't think it's bad. I completely respect the direction that the game took, and it's a tremendous, accomplishment.
Sure.
Thank you. But it's just, I have played it. I've got to the last boss, and I haven't mastered the parry mechanic.
Oh, sure,
and
sure.
I haven't had enough practice with it, and it's obviously my fault. But have you played through it?
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so that laser blast that Ganon does.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do the parry that you have to do to beat him, and I'm just just kind of.
I will tell you this much: if you have a Guardian shield, the clear blue ones, that has a massive parry window, and I think at times if it's not damaged, it will automatically parry for you.
Really? Okay.
Those energy blasts, those Guardian. Oh, hello.
I did have a blast with the game. I put probably 50 or 60 hours into it.
Yeah, easily.
It wasn't like one of those games where I just played it for 10 minutes and quit because I didn't like it.
But, right.
Mostly, I played that much because my kids were watching.
Yeah,
and they wanted to see.
That makes sense.
I kind of put myself through some punishment. I suppose.
Yeah.
But I need a little bit more direction.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I appreciate that a lot too, with that whole direction and this isn't fun to just go in this open world. I find that oftentimes with modern day open world games, if it's not some beautifully constructed, fully realized fantasy world with hundreds of hours of world building put into it and all of that, I find I get really, really bored with New York City.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
Los Angeles.
I wish they'd stop using New York City in open world games.
Even like an analog, like something from like that was with like Grand Theft Auto 5. I just didn't care. I didn't care to just go driving around to find these things, and just I don't want to say uninspired because obviously a lot of work was put into that, but I don't care. And our Queen of Cleaning is getting absolutely whooped up on.
She's getting cleaned up.
Yeah.
So I think, if I'm right, you had a kind of similar issue that I did. Wow. That I did with Breath of the Wild with Red Dead Redemption 2, right?
Absolutely.
You just didn't like it, right?
Outright bored.
Yeah.
Yep. And everything took like 4 or 5 different button presses.
Yeah, that is for sure a little annoying.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I put maybe 8 hours in, and I just thought, no, I'm not gonna ruin what's supposed to be an objectively good game by forcing myself to play it.
One of the
oh boy.
Maybe we shouldn't talk during this part.
Oh boy.
Ooh. Oh God.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this.
Stab him. Don't say sorry. Stab him.
Maybe run?
Can you? Just run. Just leave.
Can I go this way? This door's open.
Go around him.
Oh, boy.
Can you just...
I'm going to try to... Oh, come on.
Call
Brown!
He's got a thing. He's got a twinkly.
It's a butterfly.
Can you grab it right now?
That's what I'm trying to do. Inventory full. Please drop something.
Oh, no.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, hold on. I'm getting stressed out. I'll have you know that Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago.
Wow. Where'd that come from?
Just thinking about how hard this was. We got biscuits. Can I give Mr. Man the biscuits?
Well,
I can. And he was healed. I'm going to give him one more just to clear the inventory. I apologize to all of you Rule of Rose purists who are disparaging at the fact that
at in the comments.
I've done... Oh, my goodness gracious. No.
I think it was Yahtzee from The Escapist who called that game his sort of one-word review of the game.
Sorry, which game? Oh, Red Dead Redemption. Okay.
Was self-indulgent.
Okay.
Or just indulgent.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point for your horse to do a poo.
Right.
But there it is. It's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's just happened. Oh, my.
Oh, God. The whole ship is infested with them.
Now I have to remember how to get back to the first crew quarters. Here's the smoking room.
So I think, even though I liked what I played of Red Dead Redemption 2, I think I do agree with his sort of assessment that it's maybe there's just a little bit too much focus on the realism.
That was kind of yeah. There was so much of a point to say everything in this needs to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah. That
it didn't really feel like a video game anymore.
It's like a simulator.
It really, and like people use the term like, oh, it's a blah 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 simulator all the time, and that's whatever. Call games whatever you want, but that's really what it felt like. Unless I was in the middle of a great grand story mission, it just felt like I was just going through these motions. I was feeding my horse. I was going hunting. I was skinning these animals. I was breaking up bar fights. There was just no there was no gameplay loop to it.
No, there's not really.
It was just wander
ride
around
to a place and shoot the guys.
Yeah,
really. That's the gameplay.
It was just wander around and ride to a place, shoot these guys.
Did you ever play the first? Well,
the
second one, whatever you call it.
The first Red Dead Redemption, I absolutely adore. I have bought it multiple times. It killed my original PlayStation 3 back in 2010. I was in the middle of breaking a horse and Yellow Light of Death, just right there, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was
these kids can't come in here.
17 years old. They cannot. 17 years old, and my poor PlayStation 3 had just seen its last days right there with Red Dead Redemption. So then years later, I picked it up and played through it, and just really got into it and adored it. And probably maybe a little bit less than a year ago, I finally played Undead Nightmare and the expansion pack for it. I love that just as much. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
If that had just been the game itself, if there was no Red Dead Redemption attached to it, that's still probably like an all-time great game. And you, though, I don't believe ever played Red Dead Revolver.
No, I have not.
You have not.
Have you?
I have.
Really?
In the same exact place in a mutual friend of ours' basement where Red Dead Redemption killed my PlayStation. He and I played Red Dead Revolver years and years ago. Very different game. It's it's much more.
Like gun?
No. It's like an arcade game. There is.
Oh, really?
It's like a lot of mini games, and okay, this scenario means it's a shootout. This scenario means you're on a train and you're gonna take out these bad guys, get to the end of the train before time runs out, kind of thing. It's very much so its own thing.
Okay.
So the fact that they took Red Dead Redemption and the fact that Rockstar at all said, you know what, Red Dead Revolver, we can do.
You're getting
we
a
can
sequel.
do. Yeah, you're getting a sequel, and
it's
gonna be a grand open world cowboy adventure that puts most other games this generation to shame. And they're like, great idea. It just,
why did they pick that one? I mean, I guess because
I think they liked the setting. I think they felt like maybe that was like something that could be built upon, where they could say, yeah, we have this like Western fantasy world. That's I mean, I use fantasy very, very lightly there, obviously. And maybe they just thought they had the confidence in their product to do so, and that's pretty cool in itself. And I'm not really one to jump to Rockstar's defense every time. They're not my absolute favorite. But Red Dead Redemption 1, that's in a league of its own.
Interesting. So you brought up minigames, and that was actually something that I was thinking about while I was doing research on this game. For some reason, I'm not really sure why. I haven't seen any minigames, but are you somebody who's relatively okay with minigames, or
if it's not minigames the game, or if they're not horribly simplistic, like I'm thinking of Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, where the minigames in that are preschool level with an RPG that on certain difficulties are...
It's like at least second grade.
Well, I'm thinking of like, let's say Kingdom Hearts 2 here, and I'm pausing outside of the story because I'm fairly certain there's going to be a very plot-heavy cutscene the second we walk in here. So I want to wrap up this point before going in here, but you have Kingdom Hearts 2, which on the easiest difficulty is like probably second grade. I mean, I think we beat Kingdom Hearts 2 in middle school. Mini games are preschool level, but then you've got the critical mode of Kingdom Hearts 2, which I don't think I could beat today with mini games that are still preschool level. So I guess if they kind of fit in with the theme or are at least in context to the game, that's fine. I think of like Bully. Bully has an amazing gameplay loop outside of the mini games, but then you go to all the different classes that you can go to. And the mini games are super fun. You have science class, which is like almost like a rhythm game. You've got art class, which is like a Pac-Man Tetris hybrid, where you're making the shapes of the drawing and you're avoiding scissors and other obstacles and all of that. You've got shop class, which has all of these timing-based little mini games and all that you have to complete in order to finish up shop class. Photography, where you're wandering around looking for certain landmarks that you need to photograph. That makes Bully what it is. Without those class mini games, it doesn't really have that I'm in school feeling and need to complete this. And then you even have the English class, which I think has like the word scrambles or the word fills. Yeah. I really just enjoyed that. And so to me, the mini games make part of Bully. They also progress the game. They're not 100%. Well, they are. I think for the most part, they are optional. But to get certain items, you need to complete certain courses. So there's a reward for doing these mini games that are also fun. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, most of the mini games, think of like Atlantis and Kingdom Hearts 2. There's literally no point to do Atlantis and Kingdom Hearts 2 unless you want a mediocre Keyblade, a mediocre weapon. There's no benefit. You don't get money. You don't get unheard of abilities. It's just you go there for the mini games. In Kingdom Hearts 3, they have the cooking mini games, and you get the food, which is actually very, very helpful. But then they have other mini games in some of the different worlds that are just for points. They're just for the challenge of doing this mini game. I don't really care much for that. Be more like Bully. Be more like even Red Dead Redemption 1. Do you consider poker and Red Dead Redemption 1 to be a mini game?
I suppose in the very literal definition of the phrase mini game, poker would be a mini game as in Red Dead, because it is a game inside a game. But I hadn't thought of it as a mini game, because typically mini games are incredibly simplistic, repetitious tasks that lead to nothing. But the thing about Bully is that as you progress through the courses, it actually increases in difficulty. So you're not doing the same.
Yeah. Art 5 is unreal. Art 5 is that's the Dark Souls of mini games.
You're not doing the same repetitive thing, like where it loads up and you're like, oh, this is this version of the mini game. So here's the button combination to do it.
Yeah.
So
then let me ask you this then, just since we're charting this course right now. What do you feel about Mario Party? That's what
I was thinking. I was actually thinking of is it WarioWare?
Yeah,
that's
unlike the 3DS or DS where it's all just gimmicky.
It's like all mini games. Yeah.
They have
it's interesting because the game is just mini games, right?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess I don't know how I feel about it.
Are you getting existential? Are you wondering if it's only mini games, does it then just become?
Well, then the game is a game as a whole, right? Yeah. But I haven't played it, so I can't say.
Sure.
I guess, but I mean, I assume in WarioWare or what did you mention? I'm sorry.
Mario Party.
I mean, the mini games do get slightly more challenging, don't they?
In Mario Party?
Yeah.
I haven't played a Mario Party in years, but I imagine
they got it, right?
I imagine there's varying levels of challenge. I mean, we're talking Nintendo first-party AAA game, so that that a lot of thought went into we have to make this accessible, but also challenging to give it that edge of competition, right?
Yeah, so maybe that's the thing. It's just making it
not
easy
mind-numbingly
enough.
simple.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, because the like pipe sequences in the first BioShock drove me nuts.
Oh, sure.
It was, or like Marvel's Spider-Man has those.
Yeah.
Where you play pipe dreams.
Yep.
You just loop the circuit.
I actually wasn't thinking about those, but yeah, those are good examples of. I think Spider-Man was trying to do something with those. They were trying to show like the science side of Spider-Man,
right? And
it just kind of turned into weird, like you said, that pipe dreams or like that, like almost like BioShock clone style puzzles, which were fine. The BioShock puzzle, I think at the time was sort of people liked it. I think they thought it was just sort of this really interesting gimmick in such a like dark, intense, very immersive first-person shooter to suddenly have this fast-paced puzzle mini game. I think people kind of enjoyed that. But when you replay the game, it's not jarring. It's not like, oh, here's this pipe, mini game. But it is distracting at times, especially when you're in the middle of a gunfight and you're like, oh, there's a vending machine. I'm going to go hack it. Oh, now we got to do this, crazy pipe puzzle. And then I think in BioShock 2, it switched over to the meters, where you just had to time it,
right?
With in this little meter going back and forth, and then BioShock Infinite didn't have any hacking.
No, I don't think it did.
So. But those are good examples of they're either just preschool level, like I said, just remedial entry level mini games where it's even just something as simple as press X, as fast as you can until we tell you to stop, versus something like Bully that really tries to get you to engage in it while still being straightforward. It's not complex, but it's also not this grand boss fight of a design where suddenly you have to do these Sudoku puzzles or anything out of the blue in under 10 seconds, but they keep you engaged. And I think maybe that's the key to a mini game, would just be to make sure that
ramping of challenge.
And that you can't just close your eyes and just forget about it, but keep me interested in it, right? Yeah. So we're gonna hope that this is a cutscene. We're gonna let this play, and we're gonna see what happens next year.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aristocrat Club. Thank you all for gathering here today.
Well, that was certainly entertaining.
Yes. I think that scene of the rat, it's meant to show that the rat is okay with our character, that it's sort of nice to her. It kind of touches her face, and I think there's like a brief scene where it even licks her. And people took that scene out of context as well and described it as a dead rat being rubbed on a child's face.
Yeah, that was clearly not dead, though.
Yeah.
I did read that, too, but that was clearly not dead.
As another reason for it being banned. So now we're 2 for 2 of both reasons that people wanted the game banned and not available to the public.
Or they
being
were wrong.
Wrong. Just misrepresented entirely. And I believe this is now Chapter 3. We can see here that our save screen has changed to May.
And it says Sir Peter.
We are on the title Sir Peter chapter. So I think we will dig right on into Sir Peter on the next episode of the Quiet Mountain Radio program.